Robin, thank you so much for joining me and spending some time with me and my listeners. How are you doing today?
I'm great. So nice to speak with you, Stacey.
Excellent. I know that you have a little bit that you want to talk about with Gvoke. They are a sponsor of my podcast as well. Let's just dive in and talk about that, because being prepared is just part of the reality when you live with diabetes, right?
100%. I mean, we have to, in the landscape of things that are uncontrollable of living with diabetes and diabetes management, we have to control what we can control. And Gvoke HypoPen is the first auto injector of medicine if we have a severe low blood sugar event. And the looming prospect of that can be scary. And as an ultramarathoner, as someone who lives as an athlete, lives with movement, and I know your listeners are very, very well versed in the diabetes landscape, and probably can relate to that to a certain extent. I needed to take agency back, which is why I partnered with Gvoke HypoPen, because recently, for example, when I ran the New York City Marathon, I had the Gvoke HypoPen in my race kit. Thankfully, I didn't need to use it, but it does give me peace of mind out there on the race course, knowing that I have this medicine accessible to me if I have a severe low.
Yeah, I'm going to knock wood everywhere I can find some, because we
Yes.
haven't had to use Gvoke or any kind of emergency glucagon in the 15 years since my son was diagnosed. Have you ever had to use anything?
Thankfully, no. Thankfully, I have not had to use it. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also grateful that, I kind of sought out the right care for myself, and I advocated for myself with my doctor, and I recommend folks do the same. And of course, do their own, investigation of safety and risks and allergies and all the things associated with any medical prescription. But we have to advocate for ourselves and figure out what works for our lifestyles.
All right. So you were diagnosed with type 1 as an adult. You were already an incredible athlete. And I think I heard you say somewhere that you ran a half marathon a week or two after your diagnosis.
Yes. So I had a half marathon, I think a week later, and then I had a 50-mile ultra marathon like a few weeks after that. So it was a blurry and really daunting time. And I had to figure out quickly this new life, this new thing. I believe superheroes are real. And I know that folks living with diabetes warriors are superheroes. And in my superhero toolkit, it now includes insulin. It includes glucose tabs. It includes the Gvoke HypoPen. And that time, it really required me to continue. I developed a mantra actually during that time that forward is a pace. There are some days when the next step is the only step that you can focus on, and that's okay. But I figured it out because it was meaningful to me. The first question I asked when my endocrinologist said, you're going to be living with insulin, your pancreas doesn't produce enough or any, I thought, oh, okay. And I said out loud, how am I going to cross the ultramarathon finish line I have in a few weeks?
Yeah.
And we figured it out. And I made mistakes, and I figured it out, and I educated myself. And I want folks to feel that same empowerment of like, gosh, we're going to figure it out. We're going to be ready. We're going to be warriors, and we're going to continue to be epic.
One of the biggest questions I got when I told my Facebook group for the podcast that we were talking was, and again, knowing everybody is different, but just what do you do to avoid lows? Because exercise, I mean, let's face it, some people with diabetes do not exercise because they are afraid of low blood sugar. How did you get past that? How do you avoid crazy highs, crazy lows when you're exercising?
It is a lot of trial and error, and just like anything else, it's observing how your body reacts to a certain food. You have to observe how your body reacts to a certain type of movement. For example, lifting weights for me might make my blood sugar go up, whereas of course cardiovascular aerobic things like the bike, like running, will make it go down. So I really encourage folks to get curious, start small, right? You don't have to go out and run an ultramarathon, but maybe, you start with the 10-minute walk around the block and see what happens. And then you bring, the glucose tabs or the apple juice with you. I always have some type of rescue carbs, right? And this is really where the Gvoke HypoPen can come in as well, because you've got that in a severe, in the situation where we're really putting ourselves, in a severe low blood sugar circumstance, we have medicine that is on the spot, that is going to react on the spot. That gives me a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah.
So it's that two-pronged approach of daily diabetes management, and then having this in a circumstance where things get a little bit more severe, or a
We
lot
had,
more severe.
yeah. We had quite a few people who said, I take her class. I see her all the time. Have you ever had a low blood sugar during instruction, like when you're doing a class?
Thankfully, yes, I've gone low, but it's all been manageable. Drink some juice, keep it moving. I've never had to stop a workout, thank goodness.
Hmm.
And that's literally thousands of hours of practice of
Yeah.
knowing my body and knowing the exact timing of like, okay, I'm going to drink a quarter of my smoothie 8 minutes before this class, and so I really have had to treat myself kind of like an experiment, like get curious and just see and trust that even on the days that aren't my best, I'm trying my best, and my best is good enough. That is also encouraging. So I encourage folks to give themselves that same grace, but
Yeah.
also that same dose of bravery. You mentioned that there are folks, of your listeners who are so scared that they're not moving, that they're not working out, and that really saddens me, because they're limiting their own potential. And why? You're letting diabetes win when you do that.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Don Muchow, who ran or walked, who ran from Disneyland to Disney World this year.
I did. I
Okay.
read about this.
But he was
Incredible.
told when he was diagnosed a long time ago, right? I think it was the late 70s. He was told, do not exercise because it was too dangerous. Like that was a real thing that people were told not all that long ago. And he had to wake up one day and say, no, no, no. So I give you I mean, sounds silly to say, but I give you so much credit for getting your diagnosis and saying, no, no, I'm getting right back into it. And I've had the privilege of talking to a lot of people in the public eye like yourself who have treated lows while they're on camera, musicians who sneak a sip of orange juice, or race car drivers who kind of have it in their car. Can I ask you, do you keep something sneaky as your water bottle? Are there two maybe that people should look
I
for?
do. One is water and one is juice. I always have some form of juice on me on set. Always, always, always. And yeah, no shame in that. If I need it, I take a sip, keep it moving. Thankfully.
Yeah, I think it's lovely to find out those little things, because it makes our kids and a lot of adults feel better to know they're not alone. I mean, that's half of this. Did you find a community when you were diagnosed with type 1? Because it can be very isolating.
I was, as I mentioned, I was running ultra marathons at the time, and there is an amazing ultra marathoner, Stephen England, very accomplished. He does hundreds and hundreds of miles at a time. Really epic guy. And he was the first person I went to outside of my medical team, and I was like, "What the heck? What do I do?" And he kind of talked me down. And I hope to be able to pay that forward, especially as being part of this Be Ready campaign. I want to be a visible example of the fact that we can continue moving, we can continue being heroic in big and small ways in our very own lives. As a new mom, I read fairy tales to my baby girl every night, and I want to live a fairy tale that is even stronger than things that she's going to read in books, and then pass the baton to her to
Yeah.
one day live just as bravely. But it does require us to be prepared, and that is literally why I wanted to partner with the Gvoke HypoPen team, because the reality is, the more prepared we are, the more peace of mind we're going to have. You can't control everything. And as with any prescription medication, you have to speak to your medical provider to make sure that this is the appropriate avenue for you. But it does provide me peace of mind in the event that a severe blood sugar is looming.
Yeah. You're coming up on 8 years with type 1. Have you experienced burnout at all yet? Or
I think, yes. I mean, there are certainly days where it's just like, really, more of this tightrope walk. So it's definitely exhausting. And to think like a pancreas requires a lot of mental energy. But I'll tell you something I've discovered more than burnout, that we every single day we have the choice to turn why me into try me. And self-pity is poison. I think that self-pity is poisonous and much more harmful than than burnout. For me, I choose to constantly flip the script, constantly turn pain into power. I have no other way. And it's both being someone that lives with type diabetes, and also being an athlete, and also being a mom, and also being an executive, and also being an author, and also being an entrepreneur. And it's like, let's go.
I know we're going to run out of time. 2 more quick questions if I could. You mentioned your daughter. Things beep with diabetes. How is she doing with that? I mean, she's so tiny, but does she know what's up?
Oh my goodness. I mean, we're just learning, and she's very curious about the gadgets and the beeps and the stuff. And I will explain to her, in age appropriate ways of like, this is mommy's medicine and this is what mommy needs to do. And, explain to her what a pancreas is, and, things that I definitely didn't learn at her age, but, I want her to know, I want her to be informed too. And I want her to, in order for her to be proud of me, she needs to be informed as to what I go through. And I want her to see me dealing with challenges and rising above it. The community, the diabetes community is incredibly supportive. And, whether, the Gvoke HypoPen can be used for folks age 2 and up. So that's a wide swath of our community. And gvokehypopen.com is a great place for more information. That's where the total story is, including any side effect information and safety language.
And then the last question is just, what are you looking forward to in 2022? You've already accomplished so much. You listed all those things that keep you so busy.
You know what? I'm very excited about the launch of my children's book. It's my first children's book, Strong Mama. It is a love letter to my baby girl. And it really puts the focus on a caregiver's self-care. So let's remember that we have to prioritize our self-care. It's not selfish. Whether you're a parent or not, take the time for yourself. Because yes, that burnout is real. And we have to go inward sometimes in order to give outwardly.
Well, I hope when it comes out, you'll come back on and share that with us.
That would be great. That would be great. Nice to see you today, Stacey.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate your time. Have a great one.
Thanks.